She was forced to wash dishes at the party, but a shocking secret was exposed. Lily stood at the sink, warm suds rising around her hands as she scrubbed away the remnants of grilled burgers and leftover potato salad. Around her, laughter echoed, mingling with the sizzling sounds coming from the grill. It was the 4th of July, a day meant for celebration, but for her it felt like a cruel reminder of everything she hadn't achieved. As her sister, Claire, jovially socialized with the guests, her corporate attire sharp against the easygoing summer dresses adorning others, Lily could feel the familiar spiral of inadequacy creeping in. Wiping her brow, she forced a smile, hoping to mask the knot tightening in her chest. Claire was the star of the family, the corporate attorney with stories of courtroom victories and impressive deals. Lily, an aspiring chef, felt almost invisible, like a whisper drowning amidst a chorus of triumph. Why couldn't they see her passion? As she rinsed a plate smeared with barbecue sauce, her resentment bubbled beneath the surface. Each click of a fork across ceramic echoed Claire's accolades, a jarring contrast to her own undetermined culinary fate. "Lily, can you hurry with those?" her mother called out, tossing an expectant glance her way. "The guests are waiting for the food." There it was again, the pressure, as if her worth was tied to the kitchen tasks set before her. A wave of heat surged through her as she scrubbed harder, nearly tearing the dish to pieces, but the irritation paled in comparison to the ache of being underestimated. She wanted to shout out her dreams, to serve up dishes that reflect her spirit and creativity, yet here she was, just a dishwasher, just a failure. Before she could spiral deeper into her thoughts, an unexpected kindness broke through the din. "You've got some skill there with those dishes, my dear," Mr. Peterson chimed from the corner, his silver-haired head nodding in approval. He was a family friend, one of the few who ever really noticed her. A flicker of hope ignited as his words sank in. "Ever think about going to culinary school?" "No," she admitted, suddenly aware of the wash of grease under her nails. "Not really. It's just a dream." "But dreams can simmer and boil over," he mused, a twinkle in his eye that spoke of battles fought. "You just have to stir them right. Let me teach you some techniques next week." His offer was a spark, but almost immediately it dimmed. A piercing cry erupted from the patio. Her mother's laughter turned into a worried gasp. Looking up, Lily saw her mother clutching her chest, color draining from her face. "Mom!" She dropped the dish with a crash, dread slicing through her. As the joyful ambiance transformed into chaos, so too did the dynamic within her. Torn between the filthy plates at her feet and the woman who had raised her, Lily's heart raced. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue." With her heart in her throat, Lily rushed to her mother's side, burdened by the weight of her emotions and the unspoken words that lingered around them. As family members hovered, tense with worry, she felt her uncertainty throb. Would she step up to support her family, or be crushed under the gravity of expectation? Then, amidst the escalating chaos, the unexpected struck. Voices rose, and in the fray, Claire shouted, revealing a family secret hidden beneath the surface. Something about their grandmother, a chef, someone whose legacy had been buried under layers of tradition and success. The world tilted as Lily froze, her identity shifting once again. Success, legacy, ambition, all swirling in the air like the sparks of fireworks waiting to ignite. Could she embrace this new truth without losing herself in the shadows? The foundation of her dreams quaked beneath her, leaving everything hanging in the balance. The room pulsed with tension as Lily stood, grappling with the weight of Claire's revelation. Their grandmother, a formidable chef with an arsenal of recipes and culinary feats, lay not only in the shadows of Lily's own doubts, but also in the depths of family lore she had never fully grasped. It was as if a door had creaked open, inviting her to step into an entirely new realm, one filled with possibility and fear. "Why didn't you tell us?" Lily's voice broke through the chaos, though it barely rose above the panicked murmurs. Claire's eyes flickered with surprise before she quickly gathered herself. "Mom always wanted to protect her reputation and our expectations. You know how she feels about—" "But this is our legacy," Lily interrupted, her heart racing, anger fighting against the storm of confusion within her. The urgency of the moment pulled at her like a string, threatening to unravel her entire identity. It didn't matter that chaos brewed around them. The world seemed to contract into that single moment. Every traumatic piece of her life, being underestimated, living in her sister's shadow, culminated into a revelation. Perhaps it was time to define her own place among their family's storied history. But the fear of failure flared up like a match struck dangerously close to a blaze. As the paramedics arrived, focusing on her mother, Lily felt a strange resolve crystallizing in her mind. She couldn't just wash dishes anymore. She had dishes to create, meals to serve, a legacy to reclaim. Mr. Peterson's offer loomed larger than before, and in the impending chaos, confidence trickled through her. If her grandmother had been an accomplished chef, why was she cowering in the corners of the kitchen? Once the dust settled and her mother was safely taken to the hospital, Lily allowed herself a moment of stillness on the patio, the stars shimmering in the night sky reflecting her own flickering ambitions. She replayed the day's events, letting the implications swirl in her mind. Claire's voice, sharp with the sting of reality, haunted her. "Don't embarrass the family." But what if embarrassment transformed into motivation? What if shame morphed into the fuel she needed to dive into her grandmother's recipes? The urge became a pulsating rhythm, each beat a step toward integrating her reality with this newfound legacy. Lily reached for her phone, scrawling another reminder on her memo app: research Grandma's recipes. The simplest steps could shred the layers of tradition that felt suffocating and replace it with her interpretations, her artistry. She envisioned her own cooking lessons as Mr. Peterson would introduce her to techniques. Maybe this unexpected journey could cultivate her fused past and future. The next week arrived with a palpable buzz, and Lily found herself standing in Mr. Peterson's kitchen. The warm, inviting scent of sautéing onions swirled around her, feeling like a welcoming embrace. This was it, her chance to step beyond the confines of her long-held inhibitions. She had promised herself she would explore her grandmother's culinary world, each ingredient a breadcrumb back to a powerful heritage, sprinkled with her own style. As she donned an apron, another reality emerged, whispering. Claire needed to understand this journey wasn't about her past failures. It was about crafting a culinary identity ignited by legacy. Before she could allow self-doubt to interrupt, she focused her mind and determined that each session would make her stronger. Then the phone buzzed in her pocket. A message from Claire flashed on the screen. "Can we talk? I think I've been too hard on you." That one sentence, cracked open, felt like the moment of truth. Could she confront her sister about her own dreams and newfound resolve? The time had come to face the fact that embracing her passion meant nothing if she wasn't ready to stand up for herself, even against her own family. Lily's heart raced as she read Claire's text, the digital words igniting old feelings of warminess. The kitchen around her buzzed with the lively chatter of culinary techniques and the comforting hum of simmering sauces. Yet all she could focus on was her sister's invitation to talk. "Focus," she whispered to herself, rolling up her sleeves and immersing herself in the colorful chaos before her. Today was a gift, a chance to learn. Mr. Peterson maneuvered around her, sunflower yellow apron tying him to the warm, inviting atmosphere, as he instructed another eager student on how to properly fillet a fish. The air shimmered with the clinks of utensils and rhythmic chopping, echoing the uncertainty thrumming within her. Lily observed, absorbing every instruction as if they were lifelines thrown out to her. She plunged into a world framed by flavors and textures, the lessons reinforcing her view of culinary arts as not merely tasks, but vibrant stories waiting to be told. As she practiced her knife skills, slicing through vibrant vegetables, something within her began to unlock. After each session with Mr. Peterson, Lily would save the leftovers to take home, experimenting with reinterpretations of her grandmother's recipes in the comfort of her small kitchen. But with every whisk and sizzle, doubt crept in like steam from a boiling pot. What if she failed? What if this was a fantasy destined to burn out before it even got started? The memories of being unseen at family gatherings reappeared. The engagement parties where Claire basked in attention and Lily stood in the shadow of someone else's success as though her talents were mere background noise. Those echoes pushed her to confront her fears, but also the uncomfortable truth that left her more unsettled than ever. What if confronting Claire unleashed both their buried insecurities? Determined, Lily texted back, "Yes, we can talk. When?" She folded her phone, slipping it into her pocket, ready to continue with her lesson. Yet a knot swelled in her stomach. As the evening approached, Mr. Peterson ended the session with a warm smile. "Make sure to bring your creations next week. Cooking isn't just about following the rules. It's about expression. Own your story." His words resonated deeply, creating an electric charge within her. The drive home felt tethered to anticipation. She'd willingly returned to that kitchen, and now she was a part of something much bigger than her. As she stirred one of her own creations, aromatic and vibrant, she knew things were beginning to coalesce. This cooking was her declaration. But another thought nagged at her. A confrontation loomed. Sitting at her kitchen table, surrounded by simmering pots, she wrestled with the new power fueling her resolve. Claire's offer to talk clawed at the edges of her courage. She needed to approach this discussion differently. No longer a timid chef in the making, but a rising talent ready to reclaim her narrative. Each dish was her proclamation. She would no longer shy away from the heat. The room dimmed as night descended. With a deep inhale, she sent a final message to Claire. "I'd love to talk, but I also need to share something with you. It's time we both stepped out of the shadows." With that, a wave of determination washed over her, juxtaposing the uncertainty of the impending conversation. She was ready to confront not only her sister, but the stories they had both inherited. Would this path of discovery liberate them from their restraints or stoke the flames of old rivalries? And as uncertainty merged with anticipation, Lily stood before her culinary destiny, aware that shaping her legacy meant embracing not just the joys of cooking, but the messiness of familial truth. The moment of confrontation was at hand. It would reveal all they had kept hidden, and both sisters were unprepared for the implications. Lily awoke to the soft glow of morning light slipping through her curtains. The day loomed ahead, twisted with nerves and anticipation. She sat up, heart racing, replaying the conversation with Claire, which felt like a storm poised to break. This wasn't simply a conversation. It was the prelude to an unearthing of emotions neither sister had properly acknowledged. Her thoughts swirled chaotic. Each cut, slice, and stir from yesterday's cooking lesson resonated within, reminding her of Mr. Peterson's words about ownership. It was time to take her skills beyond mere culinary exploration. She needed to grasp the reins of her life. But the whisper of self-doubt threatened to overshadow her resolve. As she washed her face, Lily met her own gaze in the mirror, searching for the emerging chef she aspired to be. Today, she would go to a gathering at Claire's place, an unspoken rivalry simmering beneath the surface of their cordial conversations. Claire would be entertaining friends, showcasing her flair for hosting, a realm where Lily often felt overshadowed. This time, however, she would be stepping into that space, prepared to spark her own light. Clad in her favorite outfit, she felt a flicker of confidence ignite within. It was time to step out of Claire's shadow, to assert her culinary identity, as fleeting doubts threaded their way into her mind. What if the gathering simply magnified her insecurities, making her feel small in a room full of familiarity? Arriving at Claire's house, the scent of fresh herbs and roasted garlic wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Laughter bubbled in the background, a stark contrast to the knot twisting in her stomach. As she stepped inside, her anxiety felt tethered to her sister's unyielding presence. The atmosphere pulsed with excitement, friends gathering around the kitchen island, firearms of conversation volleying back and forth. But her focus landed solely on Claire. With plates of vibrant appetizers being passed around, Claire hugged her tightly, showcasing her charisma, while Lily merely smiled, feeling the unjust weight of insignificance creeping back. She slipped into the kitchen, determined to localize her passions, to showcase her growth. After all, this was where she felt most alive. "Hey, can I help?" she asked, her sincerity tinged with a whisper of anxiety. Claire shot her a puzzled glance, as if moments like these belonged to someone else, an intruder battling for a space in a carefully curated display. "Sure, could you wash these dishes?" The command felt like a dull thud against her aspirations. For a moment Lily faltered, struck by the weight of humility. However, in that simple request lay an opportunity. As she plunged her hands into soapy water, the very act of washing became meditative. She observed the kitchen's curated chaos, the laughter and warmth vibrant around her, and in those moments she allowed herself to connect. She wasn't here to crumble, she wasn't here to fade. With every dish scrubbed clean, Lily devised a mental plan to present herself authentically, to weave culinary stories through the romantic narrative of flavors. But just as she began to embrace her resolve, an unexpected conversation unfolded nearby, drawing her focus. "Did you hear about Claire's new partner?" a voice piped, tinged with gossip, igniting a rush of intrigue. The room grew silent. "Yeah," another voice chimed in, "they're talking about getting serious." Lily's heart raced, not from jealousy, but from a new, electrifying realization. Claire's life, which had long seemed effortlessly put together, held layers of complexity, secrets waiting to be unveiled. The vulnerability tucked beneath her sister's poised exterior mirrored Lily's own journey. And for the first time, she felt the possibility of solidarity rather than rivalry. But just as she stood poised to make her move, eyeing a guest's untouched dessert creation as the canvas for her expression, her phone buzzed in her pocket, Claire's name flashing on the screen. "Can we talk?" The moment crackled with unresolved tensions, a chance for both of them to confront their truths. Lily took a deep breath, knowing that the conversation on the horizon could break the ice or shatter fragile boundaries. Today's gathering might not just outweigh personal prizes, but also bring forth revelations, deepening familial connections while stripping away facades. Steeling herself, she thought, "This is my day for discovery. Let the conversation begin." Lily felt her heart thump in her chest like a drum as she stood frozen momentarily, her finger hovering over the phone screen. The simple text loomed like an invitation to a battleground where both sisters' truths awaited. Could this conversation steer them away from their roles of rivalry, or would it plunge them even deeper into a chasm of unresolved feelings? With a resolution ignited by the depths of her own discontent, Lily stepped toward the gathering. The vibrant voices around her faded as her focus sharpened on the text. "Can we talk?" She sought a place where vulnerability could meet strength. "Excuse me," she breathed out, wading through the crowd, aiming for a quieter corner of the kitchen where Claire most often retreated. Not an escape, but a refuge for clarity. Every step carried both her anxiety and anticipation, summoning strength she had buried under layers of doubt. When she caught sight of Claire, who stood with a drink in hand, the sparkle of amusement on her face faltering at the sight of her sister, she felt a shift spark in the air. "We need to talk," Lily stated, her voice steady but laced with urgency. Claire's demeanor changed instantly. The lightness dimmed to a seriousness that served her uncertainty. "Now?" she questioned, glancing sideways before gesturing to the hall, where voices echoed less plainly. "Yes, this can't wait," Lily replied, surprising herself with the firmness in her tone. The atmosphere surrounding them closed in, the weight of unsaid words swelling between them. As they slipped into the hallway, a sudden wave of vulnerability washed over Lily. She wondered whether Claire sensed it too, the emotional chasm they had constructed over years, now beckoning to be bridged. "Is this about the party? I didn't mean to make you feel like you didn't belong," Claire started, her tone apologetic. But Lily shook her head. "It's not just that. It's all of it. I've felt overshadowed for too long. When we're together, I often feel like I'm just there. And it's maddening." The admission slipped out, a revelation crafted from the raw edges of her bottled emotions. A flicker of surprise crossed Claire's face, mixed with traces of empathy. "I never intended to make you feel that way. I thought you preferred to keep things quiet, to be in the background." Silence loomed, and Lily took a moment to respond, recognizing it wasn't merely about the party or Claire's hosting prowess. It was about carving her space within the family narrative, asserting her own identity. "But I'm tired of hiding. I want to step up and be seen, especially in my passion for cooking." Claire's expression shifted, revealing an unexpected depth. "We all want to be seen, Lil. I feel that pressure too. Sometimes it feels like the discomfort of showcasing our real selves has kept us from connecting." In that moment, decades of mutual misunderstanding started to unravel. Claire's guarded facade fell slightly, revealing the vulnerabilities that mirrored Lily's own. This realization knitted an unexpected bond that urged Lily to dig deeper, to explore further. "If we both feel pressure, then why not embrace it together? Why not support each other in our pursuits, in cooking, in life?" Lily suggested, a twinge of hope blossoming within her. "It's risky," Claire responded, a frown crinkling her brow. "What if we fail?" "But what if we succeed?" Lily countered, her pulse quickening. "What if we discover parts of each other we never knew existed?" Their gazes locked, and layers of uncertainty began to peel away. The emotional landscape they shared, once defined by competition and insecurity, blossomed into an opportunity for mutual growth. Lily felt the tension shift, like a fog lifting. Just as they began to navigate the boundless possibilities before them, the sound of laughter erupted from the kitchen. Voices filled with joy, unaware of the transformation evolving just beyond their revelry. "What's happening in there?" Claire murmured, glancing back, a mixture of curiosity and apprehension evident. "Are you afraid to face the truth?" Lily pressed, "to break the mold?" But before Claire could respond, another text tone interrupted, the message from her phone buzzing. Intrigued and anxious, she fished it out of her pocket. A message flashed from a number she didn't recognize, but bore tremendous weight. "We need to talk about the partnership. It affects everything." With her heart racing once more, Lily exchanged concerned glances with Claire. The conversation they had sparked took a back seat, overshadowed by an impending reality that could change everything. "What's going on?" Lily whispered, as she stared at the screen, an unsettling premonition looming in the air. Claire took a deep breath, the light from the hallway illuminating her face. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it matters. More than we think. Compelled by each other's resolve and fueled by a hint of fear and ambition, they faced the inevitable reality that awaited them, unsure of whether the revelations looming would bring them closer or force them to confront the deeper issues that still lay hidden. The conversation had only just begun, and its repercussions hung heavy in the air, urging them toward the next revelation. Lily clutched her phone tightly, the text message still glowing ominously in her hand. The weight of unspoken truths hung heavily between her and Claire, yet now they were about to be intertwined with something larger, pulsing like a live wire just out of reach. Her sister's expression reflected uncertainty, but also an unsettling mix of curiosity and fear. The warmth of the party shifted into a colder realm, each light chuckle and clink of glass becoming a distant echo as they stepped back from the vibrant life unfurling inside. "Should we find a quiet spot to talk about this?" Claire asked, her voice barely above a whisper, the gravity of their shifting dynamic clear. "Yes, but first," Lily began, stopping herself. This partnership, whatever it entailed, could alter their already fragile relationship, shaping their future in ways she couldn't yet grasp. "We'll figure it out together," she asserted, willing her voice to sound firmer than her racing heart felt. They stepped into a small nook near an unused hallway, half-shadows wrapping them in an intimate cocoon apart from the festivities. The air was thick with unresolved conflict and emerging potential. "What do you think the message means?" Claire asked, biting her lip nervously, her barriers wavering slightly. There was a flicker of hope in the question, one that begged for unity. Lily hesitated, weighing the implications. "Maybe it's about our parents or something we're involved in, something we haven't yet discovered," she replied, gradually realizing that her intrigue also fed her growing sense of dread. This wasn't just any text. It felt like a reveal, a challenge. Before she could gather her thoughts, Claire took a step closer. "Lil, I value this moment between us. I don't want to lose that, the possibility we've just started to foster." A rush of warmth blended with cautious determination coursed through Lily. "I don't want to lose it either," she admitted. "Perhaps this partnership will give us a chance to reshape what it means to support one another. We shouldn't allow fear to keep us in the shadows." Suddenly the cell phone buzzed again, drawing both their attention. Claire's eyebrows knitted together, and without thinking, she dared to read the message aloud. "You both need to prepare for the upcoming partnership announcement. It could change everything between you." The silence that followed hung heavy between them. The stakes were high, and with every passing moment, their bond swayed precariously in the balance. "What does that even mean?" Claire questioned, an edge of panic creeping into her tone, as if the walls around them were slowly closing in. For Lily, this moment was a catalyst, a hard truth to confront. But her instincts pushed her to remain steadfast. It could mean collaboration. She took a breath, summoning courage that fed off her earlier resolve. But it might also mean taking risks, facing our fears. We deserve the chance to lead ourselves, not just react to situations. Claire's face softened, the tension slightly dissolving as she met Lily's gaze. "Will we be able to handle it, though? What if this exposes everything we've been unwilling to face?" Lily understood the vulnerability in Claire's question. It mirrored her own doubts. "Let's find out together," she replied, her voice imbued with a new sense of purpose. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from the kitchen area, pulling them from their contemplative bubble. It felt as if the party itself was waiting for them to emerge, yet every cheer felt like a challenge to the deeper issues they were only beginning to understand. "Lily, are you ready?" Claire's gaze held a mixture of fear and determination, wrestling with the unknown future. For the first time, rather than feeling overshadowed, Lily felt the momentum of the moment propelling her forward. "It's time to step into the light, Claire. We can shape this narrative together. Our partnership will redefine who we are." Yet, before they could catch their breath, another text lightning fast interrupted the pristine moment, bringing with it a gnawing edge of anticipation. "Meet me after the party. We need to discuss the truth behind the partnership." Lily's heart raced once again, air heavy with fear and exhilaration. The revelations buried far beneath the surface beckoned them both, and she felt poised at the edge of transformation, an awakening that could either bind them or break them apart. "What truth?" Claire probed, a frown marring her features. Before Lily could respond, she knew. This was only the beginning. The challenge they faced wasn't external, but lay rooted within their own definitions of identity and familial ties. What lay beyond the truth was something neither of them could yet comprehend, but the journey was set to unfold. She drew a breath, the thrill of the unknown igniting a fire within her. Their moment of unity would be tested, and outcomes uncertain, but a reckoning approached. Would this partnership pull them closer, or expose cracks in their relationship they had long avoided? The din of the party thrummed on, as if disregarding the gravity of the moment Lily and Claire found themselves in. Each cheer from the hallway felt like a remote cacophony while they wrestled with the stakes of family secrets and the imminent call to action. They lingered longer in their corner of the world, caught between the comfort of shared sisterhood and the fear of what awaited them outside. Lily squeezed Claire's hand, the fabric of their bond taut with unspoken promises. "We owe it to ourselves to face whatever awaits. We can't let fear dictate our actions," she said, her voice tinged with a new resolve that surprised even her. "Okay," Claire nodded, her shoulders relaxing slightly, though uncertainty still glimmered in her eyes. "But first, I need to know what this partnership really means. Do we have a clear goal, or are we just reacting?" Lily's heart sank with the weight of Claire's question. It was a valid concern, and one she had pondered since receiving that unsettling message. The thought of defining their partnership when the implications felt so convoluted was daunting. "Maybe we start with what we want from this," she suggested, her mind racing to solidify a plan. "Let's make a list of our expectations, our fears. We need a foundation." "Sound like a plan," Claire replied, her mood shifting, revealing a flicker of enthusiasm. "It might help us to clarify our paths." But just as they began to align their thoughts, a familiar face from the party's main gathering, Roger, stumbled into their secluded corner. The raucous laughter followed him, a stark contrast to the tension binding the sisters. "What's happening here, girls? Planning your escape?" He grinned, but the lightness of his jest didn't reach his eyes. Lily bristled slightly. "Just a moment of sisterly bonding, Roger, nothing more." "Right," he said, signaling his intent to retreat, but inexplicably, he lingered. Roger always knew how to press buttons. "You both can't run from whatever's brewing out there. You're part of something bigger, whether you like it or not." "We'll see about that," Lily shot back. She sensed Claire's tension rising again, and she needed to redirect this energy. "You should be with your friends." He shrugged, finally making his exit, leaving behind a shadow of dread. Lily turned to Claire, aware that the brief interaction chipped away at the resolve they had just constructed. "Do you think he knows something?" Claire asked, her brows narrowing. "Not necessarily," Lily said, though doubt crept into her mind. "But there's something about his timing. It feels off." What lingered unspoken was that their partnership could change everything, including how they navigate relationships outside this bond. If they stood unified, they might forge a new path, but the uncertainty of the truth that awaited seemed more distanced than ever. "I wish we could just ignore it all," Claire confessed, her voice cracking slightly. "Me too. But that's not an option anymore," Lily replied, her determination growing. Then, as if the universe was aligned with their struggles, another text buzzed into Lily's hand. The message from an unknown number read, "The truth can be haunting, but it can also be liberating. Are you ready for what's next?" Every nerve in her body suddenly sparked with unease. Was this some elaborate game meant to rattle them? Or was it a signpost, steering them towards self-discovery?
forcing them to confront not only each other, but also the hidden narratives of their family history. "Lily, what does it say?" Claire asked, peering over her shoulder, urgency amplifying her words. "It's just a message. It's nothing. Let's focus on our expectations." But the revelation of that ominous text loomed larger than either could confess. It signified the challenges awaiting them, not just from outside forces, but within their own hearts. Claire pointed toward the party's energy, still throbbing like a
living organism. "We're going to have to face them soon." Lily nodded, knowing the revelation had awakened something vital inside her. "Yes, we're ready to face it all, and together." As they drew strength from this newfound commitment, an unquenchable flame ignited inside Lily. The discomfort of the unknown transformed into fierce anticipation, not just to confront their pasts, but to shape their futures. At that moment, the call of their family legacy resonated like a drumbeat, urging them forward into the chaotic public sphere of the party. The partnership would be their battleground, and the truth their greatest weapon. But as they stepped into the light, another text chimed in, the words inciting a deeper urgency. "Meet me in the back room. I promise you won't leave unchanged." Lily exchanged a glance with Claire. Anticipation turned to apprehension. Would this meeting fortify their alliance or expose their weaknesses? Either way, they were on the cusp of transformation, and the next move was theirs to make. As the sisters stepped into the brightness of the living room, the noise enveloped them, a vibrant thrum of laughter and chatter underscored by clinking glasses. The initial thrill was overshadowed by an undercurrent of dread, weighing heavily on Lily's chest. The digital message still vibrated in her mind, mingling with the anxiety that came with each heartbeat. "Stay focused," she reminded herself, pushing the disorienting thoughts into a corner of her mind. Claire stood beside her, visibly tense but buoyed by the presence of the crowd. Yet Lily could see the worry behind Claire's eyes, the same worry that mirrored her own. "What if we kept a low profile for a moment?" Claire suggested, glancing toward a table laden with appetizers, a visible refuge amid the social chaos. "We could watch and listen, see what's really happening." "Good idea," Lily agreed, intrigued by the prospect of gathering intel without drawing attention to themselves. They maneuvered through clusters of partygoers, finally settling at the edge of the snack table, a strategic vantage point that afforded them a comprehensive view of the room. Moments passed, and as they nibbled on the assorted hors d'oeuvres, a sense of determination slowly overtook Lily. Rather than feeling like intruders in their own family saga, they seemed to blend into the background, an occasional whisper amidst the boisterous sounds of carefree celebration. But Jenny, an old family friend, caught their eye, leaning in toward a small group with conspiratorial fervor. "Did you hear about the Williams family?" Jenny exclaimed, drawing the attention of nearby guests. "It's been all over town." Lily's ears perked up. The Williams family was a cornerstone of their community, and the whispers of scandal prompted a swell of intrigue. Jenny continued, her eyes sparkling. "They found something buried in their backyard, something they weren't supposed to dig up." Was this about their own family history? Lily's heart raced. The unknown weight of familial secrets pushed her closer to the edge of urgency. She exchanged glances with Claire, their connection deepening with silent understanding. "Maybe that's our starting point," Lily mumbled, gesturing toward Jenny. "If they uncovered something, it could link back to us." "Or to the mystery," Claire replied, her breath hitching as the idea took shape. "We might not be far from our own revelations." Momentum began to build, but the room swelled with laughter, drawing them back into the present. That laughter, however, morphed, turning from lighthearted to strained as Roger reappeared, leaning against the counter, unyielding in his gaze. "So, eavesdropping?" he purred, feigning casualness. Lily felt a defiant blaze ignite within her. "Just observing," she retorted, holding her ground against him, determined that this was a moment of empowerment, not retreat. He smirked. You should stay away from the truths that promise liberation. Some things are better left buried. The insinuation thudded in the space between them, an unspoken challenge that echoed the weight of the text. Lily felt as if she were playing a game where the stakes kept rising. "What do you know?" she asked, her voice steady, forcing her uncertainty down. The silence stretched, thickening the air, until a throat cleared behind Roger, a newcomer with an unimposing stature, but a presence that commanded attention. "What Roger means is that there are paths that lead to surprising destinations," he interjected, his eyes darting between the sisters. "Some paths should be navigated cautiously, while others, the most important, require courage." That ambiguous proclamation stirred something deep within Lily. The call to act, to confront both her truths and the potential enmity of those who held power over her family, grew increasingly urgent. "We need to find out more, not just about the past, but about our future too," she whispered to Claire. Together, they had the opportunity to redefine their lineage, shattering the confinement of familial expectations. Would they dare face the histories intertwined with their identities? As they prepared to confront whatever lay ahead, a sense of clarity washed over Lily. They were no longer just reacting. They were strategizing. With newfound determination, they could seize the narrative before it spiraled out of control. But just then, as Roger stepped closer, lingering like a storm cloud, a new text illuminated Lily's screen. "Meet me now. The truth will bind you together or tear you apart." The moment crackled with an intensity that felt almost palpable. Would this meeting draw them deeper into the maelstrom of family secrets, or would it serve as a catalyst for their own transformation? As the weight of Roger's words lingered in the air, Lily's resolve solidified. Each beat of her heart echoed the urgency of that message on her phone, compounding both fear and determination. She glanced at Claire, whose expression flickered with uncertainty, but also a growing fire, an urge to confront the unknown together. "Let's find a quiet spot. I need to read this," Lily suggested, leading Claire away from the cacophony of guests. They squeezed through the throngs, seeking a momentary refuge behind a large potted plant farther from the main room. The text glowed eerily on her screen. "Meet me now. The truth will bind you together or tear you apart." Who could have sent it? Who held such power over them? Her fingers trembled as she contemplated the implications. They were in a swirling chaos of secrets, and the thought of facing what could be unveiled unnerved her. Yet deep inside, she knew this was a critical moment, a reckoning that had been brewing for far too long. "What are you waiting for?" Claire asked, leaning against the wall as Lily hesitated. "This might be the answer we've been looking for. Don't you feel it?" "I do," Lily admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But what if it leads to something we can't handle?" Claire's expression softened, grounding Lily momentarily. "We need to dive into this, not only for ourselves, but for the whole family legacy." That simple statement struck a chord within Lily. She pictured generations before her, entangled in a web of truths and lies. It wasn't just their lives at stake, it was the potential freedom of understanding who they were and what had been buried beneath layers of denial. "Okay," Lily nodded, ironclad determination settling in. She straightened, casting a glance over her shoulder toward the bright chaos. "Let's go meet them." They moved through the hues of festivities, slowly regaining their confidence. As they approached the sliding glass doors leading to the dimly lit patio, an internal dialogue churned within Lily's mind. She envisioned various scenarios, who they might encounter, what truths would be revealed. Would it be enlightening or destructive? Upon stepping outside, the chill of the evening air contrasted sharply with the warmth of the party. The atmosphere shifted, and with it, Lily's thoughts crystallized into a single aim. She needed to anchor her identity, regardless of the external tempest. A figure emerged from the shadows, an older man with a familiar silhouette. "Lily, Claire?" He stepped forward, his voice a raspy whisper, punctuated by an odd sense of authority. "I'm here to help you uncover the truth about the Williams and your own family." Lily steadied herself, curiosity mingled with a hint of apprehension. "What do you know?" she pushed, intent on claiming the narrative this time. Claire glanced at her, visibly intrigued, and Lily took a deep breath, drawing from the well of courage that had been building within her since the night began. "There is a connection that stretches deeper than what you've been told," the man replied, his eyes piercing through the darkness. "You both have a legacy that could either bind you together or force you apart. The choices you face tonight will determine the fate of not just yourselves, but your family's future." With every word he spoke, a sense of urgency intensified. This man wasn't just a messenger. He was a pivotal figure in the unfolding drama they had unwittingly stepped into. Lily's heart raced. The prospect of confronting their past wasn't merely appealing, it was now a necessity. No longer willing to sit in the shadows of fear, she embraced the upcoming confrontation as a pathway toward empowerment. But what if this path led to unspeakable truths? Would she and Claire find direction or further chaos? As the man stepped back into the darkness, leaving Lily and Claire grasping at the weight of his words, she steeled herself for what lay ahead. The call for courage resounded in her mind. They were about to test the boundaries of their resolve. What awaited them would either catalyze their growth or unravel the very fabric of their family story. Would they have the fortitude to confront the revelations that loomed just beyond their grasp? And would the truth strengthen their sisterhood, or would it unravel it entirely? The atmosphere shifted intensely as Lily and Claire prepared to face the revelations poised at their doorstep. Having eagerly resolved to dive into the mystery of their family legacy, they felt an electrifying energy hum between them, a camaraderie born from shared vulnerability and courageous determination. The darkness pressed against their backs, but it was no longer fear guiding their steps, it was the unyielding pulsing of potential. They approached the back room, where they sensed the weight of anticipation hanging thick in the air. Every heartbeat resonated like a drum, echoing their unified commitment to uncover the narrative that defined not just their history, but their future. "Ready?" Claire's voice held a tremor, yet it was laced with newfound bravery. Lily finally met her sister's gaze. The only way forward is together. As they crossed the threshold, the room erupted with well-dressed guests who had gathered, laughter and hopeful whispers swirling around them. Yet, amidst the festivities, a hush drew their attention to an older woman seated at a table in the center. It was Dottie, the matriarch of the Williams family. She held an air of elegance, yet there was an indomitable gravitas in her presence. "Lily, Claire," she called out, motioning them closer. "I've been anticipating our talk." A shiver ran down Lily's spine, sensing this was the moment tethered to Claire's earlier distaste for buried truths. "You know why we're here?" Lily posed, curiosity sparking a flame of incentive. Dottie smiled, warm yet enigmatic. "You both possess keys to unlock legacies that tie your family's history to the Williams." An electric jolt coursed through both sisters. No longer would they remain cloaked in obscurity. The secrets that once defined their shadows began to morph into opportunities for growth and understanding. "What keys?" Claire pressed, her mind racing for connections, longing for clarity. "There are stories intertwined beneath layers of tradition, stories of passion and resistance. Your grandmother was more than a chef. Her culinary spirit is the bridge between your families." The words struck like an astonishing blow. Memories of Claire's earlier revelation, the rediscovered strength of their lineage, and the inspiration found in Mr. Peterson's kitchen rushed through Lily's mind.
This was no coincidence. Interwoven narratives had summoned her forward. "We're ready," Lily declared, her voice firm, resonating with confidence. Dottie nodded appreciatively. "Each dish you create honors your
Lineage. Cooking is about transformation, embracing the legacy while crafting your narrative." As the older woman's proclamation settled in, popping away years of doubt and uncertainty, Lily began to connect the dots. It wasn't merely about recipes or cooking styles. It was about asserting her identity as a chef who owned her craft. Claire interjected, "What does that mean for us and the family?" "It means every dish you serve can recount a chapter of who you are. However, owning your story requires stepping forward without reservation." Dottie's eyes sparkled, striking an empathetic chord. And that's when it hit Lily. The intention she'd felt stirring within, whispered confidence back in the kitchen, was now crystal clear. They could share their journeys, contrasting paths, igniting inspiration instead of competition. "Would you both share a dish at the next family gathering?" Dottie proposed, her smile encouraging, inviting them into the fold with open arms. The thought pulled on a thread of desire within Lily, weaving dreams of culinary creation with moments of authenticity. "Yes, we will," she affirmed. "We'll bring our identities together, merging tradition while establishing our own narrative." Claire beamed beside her. This could be our collaborative debut. As they left the back room, a renewed sense of purpose invigorated each step toward the main party, where uncertainties began to melt away as vibrant conversations swirled around them. The warmth once stifled by rivalry transformed into an exhilarating possibility as they embraced their shared ambitions with pride. Grasping her sister's arm, Lily whispered fervently, "No matter what the future holds, we are no longer just shadows. We are the architects of our story, a culinary legacy revived." The lights pulsed in brilliance, laughter encapsulating the air as they rejoined the throng of guests. Confidence enveloped them. They had reclaimed their right to make their mark. As the night unfolded, a deep satisfaction settled in Lily's chest. Conversations flowed freely, her voice rising above the din as she passionately shared her plans, her dreams ignited by newfound resolve and legacy. It was no longer an aspiration muted by the fear of inadequacy. It was achievement forged in resilience. With every passing moment, her identity solidifying, Lily felt a significant transformation take root. Replacing the lingering echoes of inadequacy was a clarity of purpose, a powerful declaration of confidence shining through their intertwining stories. The impending culinary collaboration would stand not just as a testament to their lineage, but as a defining moment sculpted from the ashes of self-doubt. They had inherited a legacy, yes, but they would redefine it, as chefs, as sisters, and as creative forces in their family's ongoing narrative. As the night culminated in laughter, dessert sparkling under graceful lights, Lily recognized the monumental achievement they just constructed. No longer bound by shadows, they had embraced the rich tapestry of culinary heritage while etching their individual aspirations firmly into its fabric. This was only the beginning. A profound journey awaited them, filled with explorative dishes and shared stories ready to be told. The sisters stood side by side, stationed at the nexus of possibility. A new dawn blossoming in their future, illuminating paths yet untrodden. Together they were ready to dive into the legacy ahead. This is your moment to embrace transformation. You need to subscribe now to follow Lily and Claire's journey as they navigate the next chapters of their culinary adventures. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these inspiring stories alive.
Comment your reactions and theories about their monumental achievements. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who could use motivation and inspiration in transforming their own narratives. Don't wait even one more second to show your support.